And now, it's time for a story. A dark tale designed to scare the living daylights out of you. It begins in a small town in northeast New England, where for centuries the children were scared out of their wits every time they tried to reach the promontory overlooking the cape. To do this, one had to cross a deep, mysterious wood and climb a large hill to get there. And if you tried, you would always be turned back by thunder and lightning and huge winds that would spring up, driving you right into the ground, making you seek shelter. They say the promontory was a witching ground, and anyone reaching it successfully would become a hero, the talk of the town. Lately, an ominous dark cloud was seen hanging over the promontory. It never moved. There were strange moaning sounds coming from the adjoining cemetery. Groans and shrieks and laughs were heard sometimes in the middle of the night. The town librarian found an old registry book in the old basement of City Hall. The land was purchased over 300 years ago by someone in Switzerland. In spite of the wonderful view, nothing was ever built there. In the middle of the town lived a young boy named Tom Gallagher, whose passion was computers. He had a printer, a powerful hard drive, a large screen, games, and other software to entertain and educate him. And he had a modem, a telephone link to the far corners of the globe. One ordinary night, while surfing the internet, he stumbled onto the darknet. His excitement mounted because he had never seen it before. Springing onto the screen as if by magic, he clicked to enter. The screen glowed purple and then a sickening green. The letters were formed by thin dancing flames, red and bright orange, as if springing from the pits of hell. The keyboard was hot to his touch. The screen radiated heat, turning his cheeks crimson. Sweat poured down his forehead. Suddenly, a demonic figure appeared on the screen, calling Tommy by name.
Tommy! Tommy!
It was an ever-changing shape. First huge and menacing, its lips leering and snarling. A hump appeared on its back and suddenly disappeared. Hands with huge talons, feet with hooves, and a tail forked at the end. Tommy froze, gasping for breath. He felt as if someone was choking him. The veins stood out on his neck. His eyes bulged out of their sockets. A horrible weight pressed on his chest. He felt like he was ready to explode. Suddenly, the figure began to speak in a melodious voice, almost beautiful, and his form changed to that of a stately cloaked figure with a plumed hat. His beauty was bewitching, his voice beguiling. He spoke of the wonderful discoveries awaiting our hero on the dark net if he pledges himself to obey its secrets. Tommy began to relax as he heard the words.
Welcome again, Tommy, to the dark net.
A soothing, hypnotic joy filled his being. The figure spoke on, telling the boy that he would give him safe passage through the dark wood to the top of the promontory, and that he would be the first in 300 years to reach that goal. Once there, he would meet with the spirits of the mountain and learn all the mysterious secrets of the dark net. Tommy, in a trembling voice, asked, "Who are you?" The voice told him that he was a friend of all who seek a higher state of life. "But who was that devil-like creature I first saw?" asked Tommy.
That question will be answered when you reach your goal on the mountain. Then you will learn all there is to know.
Tommy always desired to be the first to reach the top of that promontory, and he was drawn deeper and deeper into the spell cast by that dark net figure. And now, in a trance, he waited to hear more. He was told to stand alone at the edge of the graveyard leading into the dark wood the next day at twilight and wait for the sun to descend and the last rays of light disappear beyond the horizon, he would hear this sound of a flute playing a magic song. He must follow the sound, which would lead him through. And now, the figure slowly faded away, and then the screen turned black. The next morning, Tommy awoke with a start and rushed to the computer as if not believing what he had seen. Was it a dream? He tried to access the dark net. Strangely, the screen would not respond. He rushed to the phone and called his friend Susan. He must share this with her. Susan became very excited after hearing the story and insisted on going with him that day into the forest. He told Susan he must go alone, but promised to share all that happens with her. Susan was disappointed and agreed to wait, but only if he would take her the next time. Tommy was still uncertain about going. Was it a trick? Was there real danger? Then he remembered the soothing voice and the promise of reward if he followed the instructions of the dark net. It was a wonderful feeling to be on the verge of great discovery. He would go, and he would triumph. And now it was twilight, and the owls sent messages through the trees. The bats were out of their caves. A horned moon was hanging pale in the sky. The sun slowly descended, and the fading light vanished into blackness. Tommy stood breathless at the edge of the graveyard, ready to begin his journey. He moved toward the sound of the flute, moving stiffly through the graveyard. He was surrounded by strange, chilling, diabolical sounds. What could it be? His heart was pounding. Something was tugging at his arm. A hand from a grave? Oh, it was only a branch. He froze. Footsteps. Was he being followed? Gosh, what kind of a cat was that? Tommy began to run through the forest, branches magically moving away, making a path. He was going through. He would make it. There was a ghostly, hazy light at the top of the promontory. He could hear the faint sound of the surf below the cliff. Hello? Is anyone here? Master? No answer. He was alone in the clearing, and in the center was a stone slab surrounded by a circle of white stones. Suddenly, an invisible force threw him on his knees. He desperately struggled, but he couldn't move. And then, suddenly out of the air, he heard,
The demons of darkness are around you. You are kneeling in front of the sacrificial altar. You have been chosen by us to become the messenger of death. Close your eyes and listen. The demons in your world are made, not born. Demons are chosen to execute the work of the devil. To become a demon, you must do the most evil deed of all. You must kill. You must murder.
Suddenly, the booming voice stopped, and a voice whispered in Tommy's ear.
You, Tommy, have been chosen to become a demon. You have been first to become one using the dark net. First you, Tommy, and then millions of others will become demons. Then the entire universe will be in our control. Think of it as a universe of demons, and then he who is most low will rule forever.
A pair of red eyes glowed in front of him. Tommy could not move his eyes away. He slowly sank into a trance. The voice continued in an eerie tone.
Listen, my little demon. You will bring a sacrifice to these grounds.